You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Tiona Hobson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Rookie Blue After Show.
Oh, okay. Marissa got hood with the music choice today.
I believe the song was actually in the episode.
Is this the Crab Bucket song?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the song I was going to tell them to play too.
Tiona, we are so on point. I love it.
Yes.
That is why we do so many shows together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rookie Blue. After a week off of the airways in the USA, we are back. I'm Tiona Hobson. It's season 5, episode 7, Deal with the Devil. And I have my two very mischievous co-hosts over here, who I will let introduce themselves.
I'm Yvonne Maisonette, mischievous woman #1.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marisa Serafini. Not so mischievous, but okay, we'll go with that.
I wish I could dance. I just want to like bust a move to this track right now. Wicked, wicked.
Catchy.
It is catchy. Okay, so tonight's episode was great. I want to talk about the Canoli case first because I didn't really care for that part of the episode.
I know, surprisingly so.
Yeah, usually the case, is exciting and fun, and it just kind of felt like it was in the way this week of what I actually wanted to be hearing about.
Yeah.
I agree. It felt like a B story, not the A story.
And it wasn't developed like
most of the cases.
Yeah.
It didn't have an arc to it. It
Yeah.
just kind of fizzled at the end.
Yeah, it just kind of was like
hanging a little like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get into it. So there's a firebombing in Little Italy, and so Tracy is trying to find the suspect. They have a witness who says that they saw Vincenzo. What was his last name? I didn't get it.
Pizzuti.
Yeah. AKA Vinny the Quitter.
Vinny the Quitter.
The Quitter fleeing the scene. So, I mean, there's that they're going based off of. They're trying to track this guy down. So, Shaw sends Nick, Chloe, and Gail, which is an odd threesome to send out. It's a very...
Chloe was very happy, though, to be...
Yeah, it was her birthday.
And she's off desk duty.
She's off desk duty, so she's excited to get back out there. At the coffee shop, we meet Mario, who is the owner, and...
very Italian.
Yeah, very Italian.
I'm like, close your eyes. He's definitely Italian.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to think of how to say it, and that's perfect.
I think it was his voice that sold him. I'm like, yeah,
totally.
He has the whole syncopation and diction down and the Italian accent.
That Italian, man. He was very charming, although you knew he was into some bad things, probably.
Yes.
But
very secretive.
Yeah, very secretive. He had, he was talking to Chloe like, hey, I have a son.
That was cute.
He's a catch, and, he's like, he's cute like his father. And I was like, oh, you're so sweet. I love, like, little
charming
old men,
old guy.
charming old guys. And then you're like, but clearly you're involved somehow. Like, they're like, hey, can we go check your basement? And he's like, not without a search warrant, which
Very
I
true.
will say, I'm fully supportive of that because, know your rights. And know that, you don't have to say yes. And you also don't have to be guilty because you said no.
Right.
But...
And he wasn't argumentative.
Yeah.
It shows that he's willing to comply with the police and work with them. So, I mean, it was good.
Calm.
Yeah.
He was, like, calm. He knew what was up, but he didn't, break a sweat.
Yeah, he claims he knows nothing about who this Vinny guy is. And he also doesn't know anything about the firebombing. So they go back to the car, and Oliver, over the phone is like, hey, show some initiative. I don't have time to babysit you today. A lot's happening over here. So figure something out. And Nick, being the awesome, sexy man that he is like, hey, there goes their trash.
Let's go grab
the bags of trash and go through it, which is exactly what Chloe and any girl would want to do on their birthday.
It's going to be trash.
Totally.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's not even my trash. Like, I don't want to dig through my trash.
Out of it. She was like, it's my birthday, and I don't want to get dirty and smell. And he was like, Go do what you have to do.
Sometimes you
Happy
gotta get
birthday.
dirty though. It's for your job.
There's getting
Despite
dirty.
whatever it is.
Yeah, there's getting dirty, and then there's digging in
That's
trash.
the kind of dirty you gotta go take a shower right after.
Yeah. Smelling, it's
gonna
making the whole
linger.
parade room smell.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I just vomited in my mouth." Yep, I was
That
like,
was so-
I was sitting in my chair vomiting in my mouth for her.
That was funny.
because it was so gross.
Disgusting. And funny.
And funny, right? But so in there they find a thumb, not a penis.
She thought it was a penis. That was
Yeah.
penis.
Oh, I know. And she kept saying it over and over again, and then they shot to it. I'm like, no way. No way are they going to show a penis on the show.
I'm not gonna lie, I got excited when I thought they found a penis.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh,
That would have
this
been
case-
really good.
I was like, this is gonna be the
someone's
best.
penis.
I was like, this is like a Lorena Bobbitt moment. Like, what happened? Who got their
would've been
penis chopped
funny.
off?
That was so funny. A thumb penis.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess.
but it turns out it was just a thumb. Womp, womp, womp. Chloe needs to keep the lights on next time her and Dev are getting it on.
Know the difference.
Know the difference. So, yeah, so we get the thumb, and then we're going to talk about how we find out whose thumbprint it is a little later. But we get the thumbprint back. We find out that it's actually Mario's son, a.k.a. Lil Mario, who I believe is a rapper. Was
Is
it?
he
Oh,
Lil
he
Mario?
wasn't Lil. He was just Mario is the singer.
Oh, he's a singer.
Are you thinking Little
wait a minute,
Romeo?
Lil Romeo was the
Romeo.
rapper.
Little Romeo's the
And then
Okay.
Mario's just like a
And
singer.
then Mario's just a singer, but he was Lil when he came out,
Yeah.
so
He was Lil Mario at
he
one
was
point.
Lil Mario. at one
But Mario, again, another Italian name.
Yeah, another very Italian name. So Swarek has called in Vinny and adult Mario, I guess we can call him, for questioning. They both are like, nope, it wasn't me. Their witness has now retracted her statement, so clearly someone got to her.
Spooked her.
Yeah, spooked her to, make her say, nope, actually it wasn't
And he's
him.
like, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, Tracy's like, you still got your thumb.
thumb
And
jokes.
he's like, my witness is out the window because she retracted. But
Yeah. So, Mario, they get him in. Like, oh, how'd you lose your thumb? Oh, I was slicing some meat at home. Sliced it
Yeah,
right
that's
The
off.
most
The meat
lame
slicer.
lie
Yeah.
ever.
It's like-
I thought of anything else.
I felt like all of the bad guys, excuses were really kind of
lame.
lame
Tired,
tonight.
yeah.
It was like, come on, you couldn't think of anything better.
I mean, it was
like-
just so, come on. Like,
You know
and
that was a
also-
lie.
Yeah, it's like, how predictable. Like,
It's not convincing.
Be
was it?
creative
What
with
else
your
could he have
lie a
said?
little
Just
bit.
anything else. Cut it off while cutting some steak. Anything. Just
know,
a
just-
meat slicer.
yeah.
Who?
I was
Okay.
mowing the lawn. I don't know.
Dog. I don't know.
But, it is very clear that Lil Mario, does not like Vinny. He thinks that he's a kiss up to his father, and he's always around and trying to prove himself. So Tracy and Swarek put Mario and Vinny in a room together
That
with
was funny.
2 bottles of water.
And I thought the water was going to play a part into it.
I did
Because, I
too.
mean, when you get questioned, you don't eat or drink anything.
Yeah.
You leave your DNA. Come
Like,
on.
you don't leave your DNA or
That was
fingerprints
funny.
on anything.
You've
And
seen
we
too
were
many
thinking,
episodes
like,
to know.
are they really that dumb? Like, are they going to start talking? They're in this room. They put them in there and walk out, and it's kind of like, come on.
It's like, if
Are you-
those 2 start talking about what happened, they're the dumbest criminals ever.
You do not do that. Like,
Yeah.
Because
But it's not even like talking to each other about whatever is going on. It's about body language and how they react to each other.
Yeah.
That can literally, you can read from body language if they're guilty or not.
Yeah.
So Vinny they were trying to talk in code, but it was very obvious code. It's like, yeah, your girlfriend should be more careful next time. Don't
Yeah.
bring your girlfriend around, or don't be texting your
Yeah.
girlfriend
And then
while
he's like,
you're
well, that's not gonna
cutting the
happen anymore.
meat.
He was
And
like, I won't be texting anyone. This thumb.
yeah,
That
it was just
funny.
a weird conversation that clearly pointed out exactly what happened with the
Yeah.
bombing and who was involved. So
That
they
was kind of, yeah, it was.
yeah, I think that's
Too
why I
predictable.
was like, this case was just lackluster to me, because
It was too simple.
it was way too simple. They bring in adult Mario, he's like, you did this to my son?
It was too easy. Yeah, there was no build up, nothing. And he's like, I want to speak to you guys.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that witness who, got scared. I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore.
Yeah.
So
Even that, none of it was well developed, huh?
I think it was too stereotypical too of the character developments of each of these people. We're like, okay, he's the shady guy. Good chances he's the guilty one, and then this one is the one who's affected. He's the victim in the crime. I mean, it was too easy.
And it didn't seem typical of like Rookie Blue. Normally, everything is kind of like you're wanting more, and but this time it just seemed really. I don't know if it was rushed or what.
So I think they were saving the juicy bits for Andy and Duncan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why the case was just kind of something to give the rest of the precinct to kind of
focus on,
something for them to do. But before we start talking about Andy and Duncan, want to take a quick minute to say thank you for listening to us on iTunes and watching us on YouTube. Make sure you like our podcast, that you subscribe to it, that you leave us comments, let us know what you like and what you don't like. We put out all this content free for you here at AfterBuzz TV. So make sure you go to our website, AfterBuzzTV.com, and check out all the other shows that we have going on. It's the summertime, and you'd think that television was at a stalemate, but it's 2014. There's so many shows on right now in the summer that are good and great and phenomenal. You should check them all out, and make sure you let everyone know I told you to do it. There's my PSA for the day.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Well.
Andy and Duncan. Whoo! Okay.
Oh.
So, Oliver, first of all, starts off, it's his last week in a white shirt, and he's so excited about, getting back on the streets and not having to be the boss man anymore. That inspector guy, who they just call Inspector, kind of creepy, like, Inspector what?
Yeah.
Just Inspector. Like, is that on your birth certificate?
Yes, it is, in fact.
Like, where does he come from? What are his roots? Anyway, he wants Oliver to stay on as the staff sergeant. He's like, I give you a job offer and you're refusing to take it. That's not cool, man. But in the meantime, Shaw has Andy working with him while this whole hearing, that's the word I'm looking for. Well, the hearing is waiting to take place, which is supposed to be in 2 weeks. But boom shakalaka bam, it gets pushed up to 2 hours.
And how can they
now.
do that? Like, is that realistic? You can't have something and you've got 2 weeks to plan, and then they walk in like, oh, by the way, your hearing's in 2 hours.
That didn't bug me as much as the fact that Andy's public defender guy was just MIA.
Yeah, or the fact like his head wasn't fully in it. I was like, oh my god.
And he came. Didn't I talk to you?
He came late. He didn't even know Andy's name. He didn't know Shaw's name. And I'm like, he's completely out of place, and he's the one that's gonna defend Andy.
Yeah,
and he's like, didn't I talk to you? And she's like, yeah. He's like, what did you say? What he said something like that. And we're
she's like, we had a phone call.
We talked last
we
week.
We did talk.
Yeah, but they never met in person.
And he said, it's coming back to me now.
Andy's freaking out because she still hasn't met the guy before, even when she thought she had 2 weeks. She's like, I still haven't been able to talk to him. I want to, like,
get a feel.
Go over our game plan,
Even before you go for a hearing, you get briefed by the person who's representing you.
That was crazy. The whole
But I will say that a lot of public defenders are overworked, underpaid, and like so busy that it's literally like that. They come in, they sit with you. It's like, oh yeah, here's that file. It's like they could have never talked to you, and they'll sit through a trial with you. Or the first hearing, and after that, it's like, okay, this motion's this and that and the other, and then like kind of be on their way. So it is kind of like a realistic side of the struggle of the system, but you still don't think that you'd see that working against a police officer. Like you'd think that, okay, yeah, that happens to us normal people out here, but for police officers to have to go through the same type of feeling, I was
take
like,
more
wow.
measures.
Yeah. It's like, wow, that kind of sucks for them, too.
Yeah, and also, Duncan's connected to the police commissioner, so he has pull, and probably that helped him move up the hearing.
Yeah, that's what that was.
So Andy tells Oliver that, she did kind of was more lenient in some of her reviews of Duncan in the early on stages. We find out that Duncan actually pulled his weapon on a mom who was reaching for her registration on a routine stop. The son thought it was funny, but clearly the mom didn't. And she kept listing everything as satisfactory with room for improvement. I was like, oh,
That's too nice.
That's
Too
too
nice.
nice.
But
Maybe-
that's kind of tough because, I mean, she was honestly like, okay, trying to get, like, it was fair what she was trying to do. Like, I think everyone kind of gets what she was trying to do. It's like this young kid, you don't want to just blast him if it's like, okay, he's got to get used to it. You know, it's not like she did anything. Her intentions were good.
Yeah. Her intentions were
Too good, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
too
she
good.
learned,
And
yeah, important lesson, I guess.
sometimes it's not cool. But Andy does tell Shaw, you know, I just wanted to give him a chance to prove himself. I didn't want him to be labeled as a failure before he had time to prove
Right.
himself, which is true, and it does mean a lot. But fast forward into the hearing, I mean, Duncan's lawyer, who was the best in the business because, you know, police commissioner's my stepdaddy. Yay, I'm
This is all
connected.
good,
I'm
covered, yeah.
connected.
And she just like rips, well, doesn't even have to rip really. She just like, well, here's like, I'm gonna let Andy basically set herself up. I'm
Yeah.
gonna let her say everything that she, you know, wants to say and feels and everything. Meanwhile, I have this whole recording in my back pocket that's gonna disprove everything she just said.
Just sneaky of him. Very, very twisted.
Manipulative
and-
So who
yes.
do you guys think was behind Duncan's brilliant idea? Was it his lawyer or his stepdad who told him to
Get it on tape.
get it on tape?
Probably his stepdad.
I mean, it makes the most sense that it would be a stepdad. But I just feel like even when he got on tape, it wasn't like she was like, I mean, she was just being nice, but what did she really say? She's like, it's my fault, but not really. You know, it didn't come across like she did anything bad, in my opinion. It was kind of like she was like, you know.
I think that it was much of Duncan leading her down the path of questioning that he wanted her to go to.
Right.
And be just in that instance in general, I'm like, okay, well, like clearly she doesn't know she's being recorded. He's clearly steering her down the path to completely
He's
have
setting
her
her
like shut
up.
down. Yeah, he's set
Because
her up.
if you go back to the recording, he's the one who's like, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know, he was leading that whole conversation.
Whole
And
conversation.
he isn't clever enough, so he was told to do this.
So I think it was the stepfather behind
Yeah, I
it
think
because the
so.
stepfather would probably be smart enough to pull this
smart
off.
enough to.
Like this is what you do. These are the steps you take in order to take someone else
But do you
down.
think there's a master plan here? Like something more sinister than what we just see on the surface?
Well, I thought that the inspector had something to do with it, but
Same
then
here.
based off of the conversation with Shaw, I don't fully think that he was behind it anymore. I think it is more with the police commissioner. So maybe we'll have the police commissioner like come insert himself and,
Right.
you know, now that, you know, Shaw's kind of made a deal with the devil,
Literally.
you know, maybe he'll come in and like start making Shaw do other things that are kind of
Yeah, like manipulating him, putting
Yeah.
him here so
like
that he
blackmail.
can.
yeah, blackmail
totally.
and that sort of stuff. This hearing gets very heated. Andy and Duncan are yelling at each other because Andy's still hurt because Duncan did abandon her. Like the charge of neglect of duty, he, to the definition of that, did that action.
Totally.
He neglected his duty. He's still standing by, my battery died. And Andy's like, I checked your battery. I'm not an idiot.
Wasn't dead.
And he didn't deny that
Yeah,
either
he didn't
when she
deny
said that, and he didn't say anything else. It was like, yeah,
It's like,
That was
because I
just-
did.
Yeah.
I did abandon her.
how do you guys think? Because, okay, I won't ask that question yet. So, Shaw, they take a short break. Shaw, you know, goes up to the inspector and is like, hey, the hearing lady just said that she wants to, like, expand the investigation, which means she's going to go start looking into Andy. That's not good for Andy. So, in order to protect her, he makes a deal with the inspector. He will take the job as the staff sergeant, but Oliver has to rehire Duncan, and the inspector has to make this whole situation just go away with Andy.
And they're going to handle
And
it
they're
internally,
Handle
they
it
said.
internally.
That's just more of a mess.
But it seems really shady on the inspector to let that actually happen.
That's shade.
See, and that's why I thought that the inspector was involved with this whole case and everything, because I'm like, when they got together to talk, I thought it was going to be the inspector who was like, you know, if you just take that position, I can make all this disappear.
Right.
But it was Shaw who said it, so that's why I'm confused on how to feel about him right now. But
So maybe he's not. Because, you know, just like you said, I
Yeah.
thought he was a shady guy and he's behind everything, but maybe helping out Shaw might change our way of thinking. Maybe he actually is good. He's not the one he's not the one that wants to take the
someone
division down. But
wants
maybe someone else.
Duncan. It just seems like it can't just be this. There's some other storyline hiding that's gonna develop, because it just seems too strange to me. Like this whole thing, and now he wants Duncan back. I don't know.
Maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe it's not what we think at all. Maybe it's the commissioner trying to get in, but maybe the inspector is actually the good guy who's trying to keep the good in the division. By keeping Shaw there, he has someone who he knows he can trust and know is going to make good moral judgments. And then you have some outside force who's trying to like infiltrate, but he knows that at the core they have a strong leader there. So maybe in the long run, the inspector will turn out to be the guy who's actually trying to save the division from something he knows is coming at them.
I like that.
I mean, I agree. But also, like, knowing that you're going to let Duncan, that kind of guy, that kind of worker, back into the police force is just like, that's another questionable thing.
Can we put him at the front desk?
Please, take over Chloe's spot.
Yeah, like, can we just make him...
desk him.
Put him at the desk.
Well, he said bench him.
Yeah.
He said do whatever, bench him.
Give him his job back, but don't have him do anything.
Yeah, like, I don't even want him in the evidence closet or anything. Like, he just needs to be at the front desk,
He's
like...
no good. He needs to be answering phones.
If he can do that properly.
Do booking.
Greeting people.
Yeah.
No one likes booking.
He's dirty business. There's something up with him.
There is
He's
something
gonna
up with him.
cause more problems.
Now, Oliver goes back into this thing, and when the inspector says, we're going to handle this internally, it's like, what? And, you know, Duncan's lawyer is like, what does that mean? He kind of throws Andy under the bus and is like, you know, this is, you know, my fault because I appointed Andy as his TO and she wasn't ready. So we're going to take care of this. Do you think that was too harsh?
No, I think tough love. I mean, you have to, in situations like this, when it does escalate to an actual full-out hearing, that you do have to realize and take a step back, be like, hey, these are the actions that I took. Maybe I wasn't ready. You have to be an adult.
She kind of wasn't ready, honestly, because of how, you know, like he did say to her, you know, I get it. I get what you were doing. He's like, but you weren't doing your job. And that's the truth. So at the end of the day, did he throw her under the bus, or it was a learning moment for her?
I wouldn't say throwing under the bus, because he took fault too, because like it was my responsibility to let you take on this responsibility. So I'm at fault also. So I mean, being an adult, we all make mistakes.
He made her take responsibility too.
You learn from
Can we actually say that it's the inspector's fault? Because after Andy volunteered to be the TO and Shaw tried to reassign it and say, no, that's not going to happen, the inspector was like, oh, what? You don't think that your officer is, like, ready enough to do this on her own? Or, like, what's wrong with her? Like, he questioned Shaw about wanting to remove Andy. Like, why can't she do it?
I wouldn't say it's the inspector's fault, because it's technically not his responsibility. He's not part of that division.
So who do you think was responsible? Do you think?
I think it was Shaw.
Shaw.
He's at the top of the line. He's the one that
wanted to do it.
No, he's the one that makes the daily decisions, and especially in that.
And he took that responsibility.
But just to play devil's advocate, because Andy wanted to do it, Shaw didn't want her to do it. So
and then
Shaw got kind of pushed away of like, why can't she do it, by inspector who's above him now?
And so then he was like, okay.
So then I kind of feel like everyone kind of has everyone has someone they're answering to, so everyone is letting it go, and then Andy lets Duncan slide with things because she doesn't want to report him for being bad and a failure. I just feel like it's a chain reaction of events that it's not any one person's fault.
It just kind of all went wrong, basically.
Yeah, it just all went wrong. Yeah. But what if it had been someone completely else who was the training officer for Duncan? Would he still be a failure?
No. You don't think Duncan would have been a failure
with
a different... Why? Because it's like the way he was acting, you think he wouldn't have acted that way with...
Not with Andy. I mean, because, well, also, Andy was very emotional, and she wanted to bond way too soon in the friendship kind of, rather than a TO versus their rookie. And I think Duncan kind of, because Andy was so lenient in his actions and stuff, she wasn't strict enough. And I think if someone else, helped... Duncan's still going to make mistakes because he's still a rookie. I mean, despite whoever's going to be his TO.
I think that this might sound a little sexist, but I think that if it had been any other girl, Duncan wasn't going to take them seriously. And I think that if he had had a man TO, he would have gotten in line a little bit easier and a little bit better, because Andy tried from day one and he was taking selfies at the car.
But
She's
what about like his way of thinking? Do you think like when he didn't come help her when he was in the car, do you think it had to do with the woman? He didn't feel safe going there with her?
No.
And if it were a guy, he would have come?
I just think that his actions of listening to orders and discipline he would have responded better to those things from a man than he did from a girl, because I don't think he ever had full respect for Andy from the moment that they got together. And I honestly thought I was like, is he treating her like this because she's a woman? And I thought that from day one, like episodes ago. He made a comment
about that in the car with her, about her being a woman. He did say something.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe his stepdaddy has some woman issues and stuff too. Maybe he's a little sexist.
But we also know that Duncan really doesn't have like all the tools are in the toolbox. I mean, he's not the sharpest one. And like even to the simplest common sense type of actions, he wasn't really there.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, would it have mattered? I mean, if he's not there, he's not there. You know, like whether he's got a guy. I think you have a point, but also the way he is, it just seems like he would be like that anyways.
Exactly.
But then having someone that you respect or have some fear, you know, that maybe then you wouldn't have done certain things because of that. So it could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll never know unless they do one of those random episodes where it's like a what if episode. It's like, what if this happened, then this would happen.
A Wonderful Life.
Or maybe it'll develop as we find out more about why. You never know.
Yeah, as we discover more and more that's going on. So basically, Duncan gets his job back. Andy's safe with her job, but she's pissed at Oliver. Which I guess now that he is Staff Sergeant Oliver, or Sir.
Not Oliver anymore.
Now that he is the boss, he's got to start acting like it. And he's going to go from being lovable Oliver, who everyone likes, and, you know, the interim guy you're still got that great vibe with. Now it's his job.
And he has to do his job.
It's not going to be friendly with everyone.
And that's probably why he didn't even want that job to begin with, because he knew he liked to be with the people. Now he's going to have to.
But also that reflects, too, because he wanted to be the friends with everyone, and then Andy wanted to be friends with her rookie. So it's that trickling down effect, you know.
But when Shaw was
friends,
when Shaw was her Tio, he wasn't trying to be her friend.
Yeah,
like, you know, I think that's one thing she forgot about. It's like, you can't be friends.
And it's a little bit about, if you look at like all the storylines, doing your job, her doing her job, him having to do his job, and now, you know, Dove with Chris, you know, having to do his job. So it's kind of like coming down to that.
And I mean, Shaw was also under a lot of other pressure tonight because his ex-wife Zoe shows up with their daughter Izzy. Who got suspended from school for doing what she calls a performance art piece.
What art that was?
She was protesting because they're cutting their art program, and so they showed up in mask and underwear to the superintendent. Was that accurate?
That was so funny.
I mean, I can understand protesting because I've actually done that for art.
In underwear?
But not in underwear. But I can understand the intentions. It wasn't really like malicious in a way. It was just they got caught.
And it wasn't so bad. I mean, it was just
did they have to be in their underwear?
I guess it got their attention.
They had to make a statement.
They're in high school.
They got people's attention.
He could have been arrested for like pedophile actions because they are underage.
That is true.
Just throwing that one out there. They are minors. Anyways, so, you know, she's at the station all day. He dumps her off on Chloe.
Yeah.
Who is dealing with her own stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, she runs off. No one can find her. Then she shows back up. And they have a good talk. And I'm glad that they brought Izzy in, because I started to forget that Shaw had, you know, kids, a daughter. And, you know, she's like, I never see you. I came over to your house to tell you what I was going to do today. And there's Celery doing a fertility,
fertility
dance. And she's like, if you're going to have another baby, like, I already don't get to see you. Like, how's that fair? And
that was a good moment.
Yeah, I love seeing Shaw as a dad because he's so good.
Yeah.
And he's so just relaxed and chill. And he's like, you know what? Let's go grab some burgers. He's like, I'm going to be making some money now.
Yeah,
so let's send you to performing arts school. It's like, you know, so he does have like that happy ending with his daughter. And hopefully we'll get to see more of Izzy, because I feel like maybe with... I don't know. I feel like we need to see Izzy or Celery.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
see more Izzy.
You want to see
Only
Celery?
because, you know, she has her teenage moments and she's going to be an adolescent in that way. But I think Celery is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, but I
Brings
feel
more dynamic to
it's
Shaw.
weirder though to have Celery hanging around the precinct than it is to have like his daughter
Right, it
just
makes more
like
sense
hanging
if the
out at
daughter's
the like
fun
after
with Celery.
school.
Maybe there'll be something going on with Celery, and it'll
Yeah,
be
maybe.
there, not necessarily
Yeah,
her
and
coming to the
clearly
precinct.
him and Celery need to have a talk if she's.
Because he's like, yeah, I was
He's like,
I didn't know we're gonna have kids,
nope.
so
Kids,
we gotta work
nope.
that out.
I'm over that part of my life.
Fertility dance.
And
That's
then
funny.
Gail has her interesting encounter, her first encounter with Holly since the breakup or storm
Yeah.
out of the penny, I guess we could
I thought it was
call
kind
it.
of funny that Tracy wanted her to bring the thumb to Holly.
Yeah.
It was interesting. That
So Gail has to take the thumb down to the morgue to see if they can pull a print off of it. And Tracy says, take this down to Holly. Of course, Gail being Gail tries to avoid that. And so
I think Tracy was being a good friend, you know?
Yeah.
Go talk to Holly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make amends.
Well, Gail goes to Rodney first. And Rodney's like, I gotta go get Holly.
She's like, can't you just do it? Come on.
Like, can't you just
You
do
just
it?
pull that print off.
But then as soon as Holly got in the room, Gail became like a lovesick puppy
really
and was
cute.
just like
very surprising.
vying for the attention and love again. You said it's cute. I was
Well, she
disgusted.
couldn't. I thought it was cute because she just wasn't hiding it. It was like they're all her guard. Everything was dropped, and she was just like her eyes were all like totally in love again. Like
I'm sorry.
But I think when you face someone that you do have those strong feelings and do love, you're gonna lose all your inhibitions and say what you feel. And
Yeah.
Tiana,
But
you're rolling your eyes at me.
no, because here's my only problem with this.
she's like, that's not
Gail stormed out on her. It was not the other way around.
Right.
So, Gail, if you wanted to go back, all you had to do weeks ago was go back. Not, I'm on total Team Holly when she was like, you had your chance. Like, you can't all of a sudden now, you stormed out on me. So you don't get to come back and be like, oh, yeah, oh, hey, attention over here, over here. No, because you stormed out, so that means you were over it. So now I'm moving on with my life. But that's just the way my mind
that
works.
makes sense,
so,
though.
I mean, I think I just feel bad for Gail, and I always
Yeah, she
root for her
loves
because she is a
Holly.
tormented soul.
yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, she did try. At least we saw Gail being honest
Totally.
and raw, and that's really out of character for her.
It is. I just felt like the roles should have been reversed, and Holly should have been the one trying to apologize to Gail and really engage with her in this situation, as opposed to Gail
well, I thought that
embarrassing
too.
herself.
We
and
have a
going
whole
after.
cat and mouse
Yeah.
relationship going
Because it
on.
was kind of like Holly. I mean, you know, the whole scene of why they got into their
Yeah.
little spat. I mean, I would think Holly would also have to say she's sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I didn't get to see all the phone calls and text messages that Gail ignored, so I
None
need
of
to
us
see
did.
that as a viewer. I need to see that Holly was actually sorry for her actions before I can believe that Gail is going to be a lovesick puppy over her.
But it was
all
kind of
a sudden.
funny just to see her like that. It was a little bit unexpected.
Yeah, it was very unexpected to see Gail.
I think it was
like
nice
that.
to see her like
Yeah.
that. I don't really think it's funny. I think it was nice that she is being honest.
She is being
was
honest,
very
and I will give her
sincere.
that. And she realizes that she is still a child at heart in her actions.
And she laid it out there
But,
for Holly,
yeah.
which is big of her, right? She's like, look, I'm sorry. This is, you know, and
Character growth.
yes. Exactly.
But how many times do we have to see Gail like realize that she screwed up and she screwed up again?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how many times do we have to see everyone else constantly make mistakes and
and
screw up
acknowledging
again?
them,
And,
yeah.
I mean, this is called Rookie Blue. Everyone's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, well, just don't make the same ones, guys.
Some people have to make the same mistakes over and over and over again and then
Yeah.
learn.
Marissa, why can't everyone just be perfect like me?
I don't know, Tiana. It's very hard. That's why there's only one of you.
I know.
Goodness.
I'm far from perfect, everyone. I'm only 95% perfect.
Only 90.
I have my flaws.
But they're so hidden, no one would know.
No one would know a thing. So yeah, off with them. Now, Dove is usually the best boyfriend that we have here at the precinct. It is Chloe's birthday. She is so excited to do something besides her normal tradition of watching The Breakfast Club and eating popcorn on her couch. and
she loves that routine.
But she does love it.
It's a great film.
It is. I was like, I mean, that sounds like a great night. I might go home and do that tonight. But, you know, she's kind of expecting something else because Dove hasn't told her what any of the plans are. But Dove gets so distracted by Diaz not showing up for work that he completely forgets about Chloe's birthday. She gets a present at the end of the show. And it's like, who's from West?
From West.
Whoa.
From West. And it's the movie and popcorn and a card.
And the fact that she was smiling. She was actually kind of happy about that. I'm not sure if I like this.
At that moment when you're bummed because your boyfriend forgot about you and then someone remembers that she's smiling. I mean, do you think she's going to go down that slippery slope?
No.
I don't think so. I think it's just that moment and she blushed. And I don't know what's going to come.
We're definitely going to hear that.
She's going
to call out Dove next week. Be like, yo, you left me. You abandoned me on my birthday.
And I was wondering what happened to Wes because he said he was going to fight for her and all this stuff. And then we haven't seen him for like 3 or 4 episodes. So this is kind of their way of being like, hey, he's still in the picture.
Yeah.
He hasn't gone anywhere. So clearly that fight is not done yet. It's still going on. But Dove has been calling Chris all day.
It's kind of like you can't be too, I mean, it's not cool, but he is really consumed with this Chris thing, and it's fair enough. He's very concerned about a friend, and it's a serious matter.
Yeah, and we have Shaw asking, hey, where's Diaz? Where's Diaz? And finally Dove says, oh, he's got a cold, he's out sick.
For him.
And then another officer is like, oh, he's...
Stomach flu.
Stomach flu.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. So finally, you know, he goes and checks Chris's car, which is in the parking lot, snooping around, and he finds Chris's drugs
of choice, which is no shocker.
No shocker to us,
no,
or even
to him.
No,
but
it confirmed his situation.
It confirmed
knows what it is. I guess
it confirmed everything he's been thinking, and probably why Chris has been acting the way he has over the past few weeks. So he confronts him at the house. And Chris, being a little sniffer.
Oh my God. Yeah, that too. I'm like, oh, you're totally not even hiding this right now.
Looking a hot mess.
Trying to pretend like he's playing some online poker.
Yeah.
But did you see, because one of the things, Diaz, after Dove kind of knocks the drugs onto the floor, Diaz is like, hey, it's not like I'm some drug addict fiend. Meanwhile, he's on the ground sweeping up.
He's like, I'm not
desperate. He's literally
desperate.
on his knees.
On his knees. I'm like, it's hardwood floors. That's all dirt that you're getting right now. It's not even the white stuff. And Dove turns to him and goes, no, you're a cop. And
then
I was
he pauses. Then Chris is like,
whoa.
I think it was even his body position, the fact that he's on his hands and knees. He's literally hit rock bottom.
Yeah, this is the bottom.
And then to have that realization and that intervention, be like, yo, get your act together.
Yeah. So that's pretty intense. Now Dove knows, and Dove has the big, dilemma within himself. Does he report Chris? Because, technically I think he's supposed to let them know that, police officer is doing drugs right now to help him get clean, or does he try to handle it on his own and let Chris work it out?
He's going to try and handle it. I don't think he's going to report him.
That's hard to say because they were in their own house, their own property.
Yes.
He wasn't doing... Diaz wasn't doing it, on the job. He wasn't at the division doing it. So it's hard to say, hey, this is what he does outside. But if it affects his job, which, it is starting to, I mean, it's hard to report that.
And I don't think he would, even if... I think he's going to have his back. I mean, maybe to his own detriment. I don't know. But, he's lying for him as to why he's not there. So I don't think he's going to go and tell. Yeah. I mean, would you?
It's a slippery slope because on the one hand, I understand that what Marisa said, it's on his free time.
Right.
But that stuff stays in your system so long that you're still going into work with it in your system. And you're a police officer.
And when you're a police officer, even when you're off duty, I don't think you can do any drugs, right? I mean, I don't think you can do drugs. I'm sure that's part of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he would get fired and, for if he tested positive, not suspended,
fired.
He would lose his job.
I mean, yeah.
So I think that's the reason why Dove won't say anything, and he'll try to help him, and it might be to the downfall of them both. it might be to the downfall of his relationship with Chloe, because if he's keeping secrets from her and she's kind of suspicious that
Like,
something's
what's
going
up?
on,
Yeah.
it might lead her straight into Wes's arms.
Or Nick, because Nick's right there too.
I mean, I would go for Nick, but y'all already know that. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's something that he definitely has to be careful about and be tiptoeing around. And if Diaz doesn't get his stuff together soon and quick, then he needs to tell someone.
He's going to have to, because it's going to affect his job. I mean, it is affecting his job performance.
I think once Diaz, messes up again, then Dove will say something. Because that is his job, despite the fact if they're best friends or not.
But then we know that Dove, dealing with his brother's stuff and everything, like, it's hitting close to home, so maybe he would be more lenient and really try and be
help.
there and help Chris as long as he can.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. These rookies, man, I tell you.
So much.
They just can't get their act straight, I swear. I guess we could mention quickly, I loved Sam and Andy's moment on the basketball court at the end of the episode when he was trying to cheer her up because she was mad at Shaw, and he's bad at basketball. He didn't even know what a check was.
He didn't know how to pass a ball.
Like, here you go. Pass it.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if he made that layup or not, because it cut to black.
Probably
and it
not.
was a horrible layup. It was like a...
He shot on his right when he should have shot on his left. I mean, come on.
It was just all bad, but it was cute nonetheless. So it was nice to see them have kind of their little couple moment throughout the episode.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should get into some predictions.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So the previews for next week kind of make me think that everything that we kind of gathered in this episode is going to take a backseat so that we can have a focus on like a good case scenario type of thing.
I think Duncan's going to be back. Of course, we see that. But he's going to be paired with someone else. I don't know who, but I don't know. Duncan's got to
that's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. If, Duncan and how that's all going to fly, because he's going to have enemies now.
And I also think someone else is going to find out about Diaz's drug problem.
Ooh, what if it's Duncan? And he uses that to his advantage to kind of leverage to get back up.
Yeah, more people are going to find out about the drug problem.
Yeah, I think so, because, he's getting so sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this can happen because Swarek is now a detective, but what if Swarek and Duncan ended up being put together?
Ooh.
So I feel like he's like, right now, who else is going to train Duncan?
I would love it to be Nick. That'd be great.
I don't think that they'll let any of those other rookies do it now, because it has to be a senior who's established, who's done it before, and it can't be Shaw because he's now at the desk. So I'm just trying to figure out who it would be.
Maybe they'll bring someone else.
Yeah, but he's a detective, so
that would be interesting.
I would love to see it, but I don't know. And I feel like in the next episode with Diaz and Dove being trapped in that house, from what it looks like, that's going to be how the drug problem thing really becomes evident to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think Dove and Chloe are going to kind of slowly separate.
I think so too.
And do you think that rift is going to get a little bit bigger?
And do you think Wes is going to make an appearance next episode?
I hope not.
If it's not next episode, it'll be
coming
down the road.
It's coming, because that letter his presence is already here.
He's not giving up.
I think it just depends on how much of next episode focuses on Dove and Diaz being stuck in that house versus other things. But we also still have to see that drug dealer that Chris has been buying from.
Oh,
with the sunglasses.
Yeah. Crystal owes him one because of that whole mix-up with the being stuck in jail. So I feel like that's going to come into play pretty soon too. So it'll be interesting to see. But everyone, make sure you guys let us know what you think is going to happen on the show. Keep the conversation going. Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Yvonne Maisonette.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
You can check out everything for AfterBuzz TV on social media at AfterBuzz TV. Make sure you go to our website and check out all the millions of other shows that we do here. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday night with us. As always, we will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.